Como captar a atenção do investidor com o seu pitch. Fala galera, Augusto Tons aqui, investidor, anjo e mentor de startup. A análise de hoje foi de uma startup que tem como proposta trazer um aplicativo para conectar pessoas. E como funciona? Inicialmente o empreendedor faz o seu pitch para que eu possa analisar e posteriormente eu faço os meus comentários. Para facilitar a sua vida e para fazer com que o vídeo fique mais gostoso de assistir, a gente inverteu a ordem. Então eu começo falando sobre análise e depois, se você quiser, você pode assistir o pitch completo. Este é mais um vídeo da série Análise de Pitch. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing very well.
Okay, so I'd like to start making comments on the first page, which what I like to see in the first page. I like to see the brand, the name of the company, but also the value proposition and a picture that represents what you are bringing to the market. And why that? Why to put these three aspects on your first page? Because you need to create emotional connection. It's the first thing that we need to create when we are presenting, because we make decisions based on our emotional side, even if we believe that we are making decisions based on our rational side. So in order to make an impact in the first moment that you are going to present, you can include a picture and a statement. If you bring all these three aspects together, you can start creating that connection. And once you do it, we can go to the next point, which would be the problem. And what I would recommend here, when you talk about the problem that you solve, you could use persona. Do you know persona?
Yeah, I know persona.
Yeah, so you could use your persona, not only one, but you can use more personas and create a story to talk about their problems. And then you have a freelancer that is an engineering that knows Scrum methodology, Agile, or other engineering methodology that I'm not familiar with, but are important for people who create projects. And in the other hand, there's John, for example, which has a brilliant idea but doesn't know how to implement. And the problem of John is that he is trying to find the best way to build it. He has a good idea, but the way that he imagined that it could be built is not the best one. However, Mark is an engineer that knows exactly what to do, but he doesn't have an idea. And they need to be together, but now they are not. And probably they will not be together. However, with our platform, there's a way of them to be together, to build a project, and to make it successful. So after having said that, when creating this emotional connection with your audience, within this case would be the investor, you start to make them and to make me feel part of your brand. So I need to position myself in the shoes of your clients, in the shoes of your users, and the shoes of you. So I need to be able to have this view, this complete view of the company in an emotional way. So when you are presenting, if you tell the story, it would be easier to create that connection and to connect topics of your presentation. So the first thing that you mentioned was your purpose, which is great. I like the purpose that you're bringing. However, if you could present this purpose when you talk about just after the problems of the persona, the impact of it would be greater. And then you talk about your value proposition, and then you enter in the solution. So you talk about the problem, you talk about the solution, value proposition, and what you are bringing to the market, your purpose, and then you present what they have today. What John and Mark have now available for them to solve their problems. They have the competition slide. So you can present the competition slide, still making the flow of your presentation smoother, to create a whole story behind it. And you present the competition, you present the characteristics of your competition, and then you can present your differentiation, your competitive advantage. Because you can put everything together in the story, and you create an emotional connection with your first page. You still talk with the emotional side of the brain, telling a story. And then you talk about the solution, you talk about your purpose, you talk about your value proposition, and why you need to be in the market. Because today there's no company that could provide what you're providing now. And all those competitors, they are in the market but solving part of the problem, but you are not.
Okay.
And these are the characteristics of the competitors. And it makes us be a scalable business, because we are gonna have differentiation in the market. Another aspect that I didn't mention. Here, the global opportunity.
Yeah,
When
the
you
market itself.
When you talk about Mark and John, for example, you can say that they are not alone in the market. So it's not only Mark and John that has a problem, but there is a market out there. And then you talk about Tam, Sam, and Son.
Yep.
And then when you start talking about your business model and revenue model, it's important because I have this difficulty here. I see that there's a market. I see that you have a scalable business model. However, I don't see clearly here how are you gonna reach these numbers. And it should be clear. What is important to present? It's important to present the total market and how are you gonna achieve that market and how are you gonna make your business scalable. And in order to do that, you need to create a correlation between total number of people that will be your client, how much are you gonna charge, and then it will make me have a clear idea of the revenue of your company. You establish here the revenue model, and your revenue model you skip, but I believe that I believe that you skip because it has details that would take time to explain. What I would suggest is to pick just the most important information and leave it here in the slide in a sequence that you could demonstrate how much money are you gonna make with your business. Because you're gonna have the market, you're gonna have the number of potential people that you're gonna bring as a client. You have how much are you gonna charge, and then you make me have the clear view of the revenue of your company.
Okay.
And then you talk about growth strategy. Okay, so once we have this revenue model, we are going to charge this amount for our clients, and we have a possibility of getting this amount of clients. How are you going to reach and go to the market and grow our business? Okay, now we are going to talk about the growth strategy, and then you talk about this slide. What I would suggest for a pitch presentation, this deck is ready for sending for investors to have to read by themselves. So I could read it and I could understand, but if you're gonna present, you could eliminate some of the information and make the words bigger and make it more effective to present the main idea. You don't need to present...
Sorry, Augusto, sorry to interrupt. This is not a presentation to present. Okay, this is a presentation only to send for read. That's it.
Okay.
If we present a completely different presentation, and we are very much we very much do it the same way you're telling us to do. We tell a story to make it very simple.
Great.
Okay, so very much many of the things we've got. I can show you presentations that we've done in front of investors, and they tell a story. They give you examples. It's very simple because we want to transmit in a very simple way how we can how our platform can work and what solution can it bring. So we're very much in line, you and me, in that sense.
Great. That's very, very good. And I think just one additional point that I would mention in the team slide would be the results that each one have achieved. I know that you have included the characteristics, the experience, and the background. One additional thing that you could include here would be the results that they have achieved. For example, you mentioned that Andrea, he was a co-founder of a company called Google. What is the result of the company? Is he still there, or what are the results that this company has already reached? For example, Guru is a I don't know, 1 million revenue company that Andrea could build. You know, just some results to demonstrate that this team has the potential to bring this company to the next level. Perfect.
All right.
So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and hope to hear from you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Esta foi a análise realizada em que falamos sobre aspectos fundamentais para que você tenha uma apresentação, um pitch relevante para os investidores. Caso tenha gostado, deixe seu like. Se você acha que esse vídeo pode ser útil para alguém que você conheça, fique à vontade em compartilhar. E para receber atualizações e ter acesso a novos conteúdos que eu posto, fique ligado nas minhas redes sociais. E você pode também se inscrever no meu canal do YouTube, que a descrição vai estar aqui no primeiro comentário. E para ver o pitch completo do empreendedor, é só continuar acompanhando esse vídeo. Até a próxima.
Okay. So, the reason why we created Last Basic, which we created back in 2017, 2 years ago, 2 years ago, was because, well, there's 4 people in the group who've created this company. 2 of them are engineers, okay, and 2 of us are more of marketing people, okay. So the reason why we created this is because the person who thought about this idea, he's got an engineering background, and he's always seen that there's a room for anyone in the world to create hardware products. So anyone who can invent something, you know, you don't have to be an engineer. You don't have to be someone who works in the R&D department in a company. You can be somebody who's got a fruit shop. You can be a doctor. You can be a pilot. So basically, Last Basic is there to democratize the evolution of technology for everybody. Okay, now how do we do this? We work Last Basic as a sharing economy model. Okay, so we've got a community of experts. We call them experts, which are designers, engineers, and makers who subscribe or they register to our platform, and they say they want to become an expert. And they're from all over the world. They can be Chinese, Japanese, Brazilian, or Spanish, or American. And they contribute, they contest between each other to win a project. So they're not part of our payroll. They're not engineers that we pay every month. They participate in a sharing economy model. That's the way it works. This we copied. It was a model that we copied from an existing model that exists already in the market from 99 Designs. 99 Designs is a platform of design, of creative design, basically. So if you want to create a logo, if you want to create your corporate branding and so on, you go into 99 Designs and they can do it for you. All you have to do is bring up your idea, and they've got creatives and designers who'll do it for you, okay? So all we've done is take that model and we've taken it into the engineering world, okay? So we've taken a winning model and we've taken it to the engineering world because we think that it can work. So what have we done? We've created a platform, which is not exactly yet a platform. That's why we need the funding to create the platform. But at the moment, we've got a web page, and we can work around on the web page, which anyone with an idea brings it up, fills out a briefing, and then our head of engineer will evaluate if that project is a valid project that we can do, because we cannot do just anything. I can't build the plane, if you know what I mean. I can't do a divider of protons. I can do anything like that. I have to do small IoT products. Okay, anything that can fit in kind of a 15 by 15 centimeters cube, and that can be kind of a developer on an existing product. So that's the kind of things that we can do. The idea is that in the future we can do bigger scale products. Okay, but at the moment, that's what we can do at the moment. All right.
Okay. So
the problem that we're solving is that the person who, as I said, is our CEO, Alejandro, who I know you're in contact with. He's worked previously in traditional consultancies, and he saw that if I have an idea and I go to a traditional consultancy, first, they're going to be very expensive, and secondly, because my project is smaller, they've got bigger projects, and they're going to take ages to work on my project. So that's the problem, and that's the idea that we want to solve with Last Basic. So anybody can come up with a smaller project, and there's a fixed price, very much cheaper, 20 times cheaper than any traditional consultancy, and we can do it in almost 1 month. Okay, so we're very quick in that sense. In terms of our competitive advantages, there are 4 main competitive advantages. One, we're very cheap compared to traditional consultancies because we've got a fixed price. We'll talk about it later on. It is accessible from just anywhere. I can sit on my sofa in the sitting room and go into the platform, and I can do everything from my sofa. I don't have to go to the consultancy premises and have meetings and so on. I don't have to do that. There's a very high added value because there's a big community of experts from around the world, which brings that added value. And at the end, the user or the client has got control of the development of his idea into a product from beginning to end. So at all moments, he or she can decide when to continue, when to stop, who to work with, and so on. So there's complete control. Basically, how we do it, the process, as I said, there's a fixed price. So let's say you have an idea, Augusto, and you go into Alas Basic. You fill in. We're going to always ask you to fill in a briefing, a very short briefing, but it gives it an idea. So our head of engineer, in 24 or 48 hours, will get in touch with you and will say, Augusto, your idea is something that we can work with. If it's not something that we can work with, he will always give you a suggestion of how we can work with it, okay? Mm-hmm. So the idea is always to try and keep the client as much as possible. Once we've said, okay, Augusto, this is your idea, something that we can work with, you have to pay the package. Our designers will start working on the design. So you will get probably 10 designs from different designers, and you will select one. Once you selected one of the designs, that money will remain in the company. We will not return that money. If you don't select any of the 10 designs that we've sent you, that the designers have sent you, and you decide that you don't like any of the designs, we will reimburse the money to you. But once you select one, the money stays in the company. And then we will pay the designer, and we will move on to phase 2, where it's when the engineers start working on the design. They will convert that design from paper into a 3D functional prototype. We will take that to a 3D manufacturer, and which will convert that product into a real functional product, which is what we call a pretty nice product, which will then be sent to you from us. Okay, that's the process. Now, we're not reinventing what we are. Basically, we are reinventing the traditional engineering world. We are a very much a disruptive source of creating product. So up to now, we found that traditional engineers, consultancies are inefficient, and we can bring a lot of high network benefits thanks to our online situation. So we're working around 3D printing, cloud storing, big data, robotics, IoT, drones, etc. That's our world. That's what we are creating in a small, as I said, in a small size. Okay. Now, where are we now? We started in 2017. We've gone through a lot since then. Up to now, I mean, recently, and let's go. If you follow the snake here, we've recently been to an accelerator called Desta. We were chosen among 500, more than 500. Just a second, please. Will you please turn that up, please? Thank you. We were chosen among more than 500 startups to be one of the 20 to be a part of Desta, and we've come out very reinforced after that. So basically what we're doing now, our marketing efforts are very much focused on Google AdWords. That's how we are accessing our clients, our potential clients, through Google AdWords, because we know we can go to more specific potential clients then. We are hoping that we think that we can achieve between 3 and 5 sales per month, okay? Which would give us around between 15,000 euros to 25,000 euros monthly. Okay. Now, our market is basically the IoT market, the connected things market. That's where we know that we can be, and we can take a piece of the cake. So we know that that market will be in 2020, in next year, will be the value of that market will be just over $50 billion. That's what Forbes says, and we want a chunk of that. We know that we can be there with our disruptive with our disruptive proposal. Also, platforms very well known like Kickstarter, like Indiegogo, even though they have nothing to do with us in a certain sense, because their model is completely different, because they are more of a funding platform. But we know that Kickstarter, for example, has done over 400,000 projects based on hardware technology in the last 2 years. So that shows us that there is an interest. People do want to create hardware technology. They just don't know what are the paths to do it in a simple way. And we are the simple way to do so. Okay? Mm-hmm. Our competition, we could say that our competition is the traditional consultancy in each country, but that's very local. We are a global platform. So therefore, we should compare ourselves with other global platforms. PCH is a huge consultancy in the world. It's an Irish consultancy. It's global, but it's traditional. So their cost of production is huge. They've got manufacturers, they've got fabrics, they've got everything, but it's not the same model as we are following. They are a reference to some extent. I think we were much more similar to other platforms like Quirky, Incentive, Upwork, or iMaterialize, which are platforms that work with freelancers, that work with other people who can create challenges, but they're not exactly the same as ours to some extent. So we can say that at the moment, nobody's doing exactly the same model as we are offering. They're doing similar things, but not the same thing. And we are very much focused on hardware technology. Quirky, Incentive are open to any kind of project. It can be hardware, it can be software, it can be clothing even, or it can be running shoes, or even gardening. But so that shows you that we are very much focused to a certain specific solution. Our scalability is based on one, we haven't got any fixed costs. Of course, we have a small team, and it'll be bigger, our team, but it won't be a huge team. I mean, we don't need engineers. We've already got those engineers who subscribe, and those experts who subscribe to our or who register, to our platform, coming from all over the world. And we don't have to pay them. Only if they win the contest, if they win the project, we pay them. We pay them a small amount, which is what we've agreed with them, because that's what we have. We've got a fixed price at the moment, which is $4,000, nearly $5,000 for the project, which is very cheap compared to what. I mean, if you want to do a hair cutter, for example, a trimmer, you can come to our special sunglasses with special technology. You can come to our platform, and you know that by paying nearly $5,000 you're going to have that prototype done in a very short time, and that's thanks to this community who works in a sharing economy model. So those, as such, we don't have the fixed costs of having engineers in our team. We pay them only if they win the contest. That's it. Other than that, we're also looking into different solutions, different opportunities to grow the company in the future. We want to open up a subscription SaaS solution for experts to join us. Not only subscribe, but they have to pay a fee. That's something we're looking at. We're also looking into an advertising model once we have the platform up and running, that companies that are very much focused in the engineering world can advertise. Also, we want to go beyond prototyping. We want to go in the future, in 5 years' time or whatever. We want to be going to beyond, as I said. I mean, once the user creates we send him the prototype, and he gets investment for that prototype. We can even help him to get investment for that prototype. We want to move on and help him to produce mass production of that product, helping to sell that product. That's something also we want to do. And also we want to become a social platform. I mean, for those countries that haven't got the means in Africa and in Latin America, who can be helped by the international banks like the Bank of Africa, to some extent. How can we help those small little villages in Africa to create something that's just useful for them? That's the idea of becoming social. I think we've got a great opportunity there. In terms of payment, how the model works, I mean, I think I've explained this very briefly to you. I can go into depth a little bit more in this, but I think I'm going to skip this part. You can have a look at it on yourself. The idea on up to now, how we've communicated our platform, we've been using Facebook ads. It's worked, but we were not really happy with how it works. So that's why we switched to Google AdWords. And we've been working with Google AdWords for the last 2 months. We're very happy with the return. We're getting more quality users interested in not only subscribing, but also, giving us their briefing and their ideas. And we're closing some interesting deals with them. I think they're more professional thanks to Google AdWords than using Facebook ads. Also, as for our strategies in terms of partnerships, we're looking into, there's a huge engineering company in Spain called Indra. We're talking to them, how can we partner together. I'm sure you've heard of Arrow in the States. I think they're global, but I'm sure you've heard of them. We're also talking to Arrow Spain to see how we can partner up with them. And I think we're getting quite a good response from top markets like States, like Canada, in certain European countries. In the UK, we've recently closed a deal with somebody from the UK. When we used to work with Facebook ads, we would get more interest from underdeveloped countries like, in Africa, like Nigeria or Egypt and so on, or India. And they wouldn't be exactly interesting deals for us, because they were very, thinking out of the box, crazy ideas to some extent. Now we are getting more quality ideas, which is good. The team is formed by 4 people. Myself as one of the co-founders, Alejandro, who I know you're in touch with, Antonio, who works with me in the marketing department, and Andrea, who's an Italian guy who's head of engineering. So Alejandro and Andrea they take care of the engineering side of the company. Myself and Antonio, we take care of the marketing side of the company. There is a new incorporation. There's a new guy, an American guy, who's going to join us. He used to work for the company I mentioned before, PCH. Okay, and now he's living in Spain. He's a young engineer. He's going to come to help us out and to work with us. He's going to be part of the team. I haven't met him exactly, but I mean, Alejandro has. He's closed the agreement with him. So I think he's going to be a great asset for us. He's going to take care of all the operational side, while Andrea will take care of the engineering side specifically. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go into financials or anything right now, because it's probably a bit confusing. And I think that's it. Basically, I mean, I need to tell you that what we're looking for is what we're looking for is to create a platform. Okay, platform is crucial so that we can automatize the process. At the moment, we're not automatizing the process. So once we've got a web page, people register. We send them the briefing, and once they've sent the briefing and we've approved the project, we bring them into Slack, where that's where they meet the ecosystem of experts. That's not what we want in the future. We want everything to be all together, joined in one same platform, and we want everything automatized. At the moment, there are too many emails between potential users and ourselves, which slow us down, and that's something that we need to change when we have the platform. Having the platform, that means having IT software engineers to create that platform, and that's why we need money. So the investment that we're looking at the moment is about 400k euros, which should be around, let's say, roughly $500,000 US dollars, and that's what we're looking for at the moment to get started, to move on with the platform.
I see.
Okay, and that's it.